Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, whichever time of day it is for you. I'm with meteorologist Jessica Dobson, and we're talking about the heat this week. It's going to be a big topic of conversation. Oops, I had the wrong mic on. Hopefully you can hear me better now. We'll be talking about the heat this week, how hot we get. We're looking hot and dry. So if you're watching, feel free to leave a comment with where you're watching from, and I'll give you a little bit of a shout out. Or if you have any questions, of course, you can always let me know, leave a question in the comments if you are watching from a platform where you can do that. So let's go ahead and get right into things because the sun is setting. It looks beautiful outside. I'll show you that camera. There you go. We've seen a little wasp kind of flying around. You might see him here in a second, but yeah, I don't like wasps. They're not very cute. But it is beautiful outside in terms of what it looks like. It's still pretty toasty. Temperatures right now in the upper 80s and low 90s. 90 right now in Louisville at Muhammad Ali International, 92 in Jeffersonville, 82 in Eminence, 88 in Carrollton, 89 in Frankfort, 90 in Lexington even. So it's been a warm day. We did make it up to the low mid 90s. I'll actually go ahead and pull up our almanac because I wasn't planning on it just yet. We made it to 92 and our low this morning was 68. So it's been a big temperature spread we've seen, and these numbers will only increase through the course of the next couple of days. Okay, I do want to talk about what it feels like though outside right now. It still feels like the triple digits in a couple spots. Yeah, not ideal. Feels like 103 in Jeffersonville, 100 in Salem. So that's what we feel like temperature wise when we factor in the humidity. I know there's always like the running joke of like, it's the temperature. So that's what it feels like outside. That's literally like what a temperature is, but things can affect the temperature, just like the wind can affect the wind chill. We can, or the wind can affect the temperature, creating a wind chill, and the humidity can affect the heat and create that heat index. Sorry, I probably didn't really help you there with that explanation, but we're doing our best. So the rest of tonight is fine. Yeah, it's going to be warm and muggy. Temperatures will only fall into the mid 70s in the metro. Outside areas will fall into the low 70s. So all in all, it's going to be quiet and clear tonight. But this is what's new for us since earlier today. We have seen the excessive heat watches. Those have been issued since last night. And now they've been expanded a bit further east. That's where we have the dark red area. And then we also have excessive heat warnings. Those are in place that include the metro, several of our southern Indiana counties, really most areas kind of along and west of I-65. And that's going to be for temperatures in the upper 90s, mid to upper 90s with a feels like temperature in the 103 to I think 105 degree range is what I read. Is the criteria. Regardless, it's going to be just downright sweltering this week. And this will actually start tomorrow at 1 p.m., last through about 11 o'clock Thursday night. And the National Weather Service, they have been mentioning, they may extend it just depending on how it unfolds this week. Could see some clouds tomorrow that might put our high temperature in jeopardy. That would be fine with me, honestly. I don't want it to be hot. I want everyone to stay safe. And here's the thing. Tomorrow, back to school, JCPS, all students, high schoolers now included in this. So we got to watch out for that because the school bus riders, you want to make sure they're staying safe and healthy. I feel like everyone's going to have all the windows rolled down, and that's good. Do whatever you got to do to make sure you're staying cool. And just make sure you have lots of water. If your school and classroom allows it, pack the water bottle. I don't know what the exact rules are. It's been a long time since I've been a JCPS student. But bring the water bottle. If not, bring multiple or refill it before you leave. Do whatever it is you have to do to make sure you or your students or your kids are staying safe from the heat. Okay, I want everyone to make sure they're staying hydrated. And the thing with hydration is it's kind of a delayed effect. And you can see that when you're dehydrated as well. So you want to make sure you're kind of being progressive about it. You're starting early. I'm so bad about drinking water sometimes. I love Coca-Cola so much, sweet tea, all the stuff that is not water. That's like my favorite, but you've got to find ways to make sure you're drinking that water, however it is. Just make sure you're getting that in, because we do have the state fair happening too. I know we have Waves Day at the State Fair on Tuesday. I will be there along with Olivia Russell and so many other of our fun faces. So be sure to stop by and say hi. And we will be in the air conditioning, is what I'm told. So it will be inside. So yeah, you don't have to worry about sweating and being out in the heat on Tuesday. Okay, so the back to school forecast, I didn't really specifically go into this. 74 will be what's expected for the drive in. So warm and muggy, I mean, that we've seen that already this year, not terribly uncommon. Lunchtime, we're looking at temperatures around the mid 80s. So we're starting to see the heat increase. Then by the ride home, depending on the time, whether it's earlier or later, regardless, between the 2 and 5 o'clock hour is when some of the hottest temperatures will be happening, which is just such crummy timing considering what's going to be happening tomorrow with the students and also just folks at the fair too. I just want to make sure everyone's staying safe. So 93 with it feels like temperature probably in the low 100s by that point. Not ideal. Again, I hate to see it. But we have to make sure you're staying aware of this, and we want to make sure everyone has a good heads up and can prepare accordingly. So the heat wave is going to continue this week. We've got this area of high pressure, this large, just a dome of heat, essentially. We have a ridge of high pressure, and that's what's essentially being a key driver in a lot of the heat that we have for this week. So temperatures, check this out. I've never seen that shade of pink before on our bar graph, 99 degrees by Thursday and Friday. That could change too. And I was talking a little bit about that earlier today during one of my forecasts. I was trying to mention it because the Friday temperature is going to be dependent on the timing of when we could see the break from the heat. There is going to be a break sometime the end of next week into next weekend. That will come with some very spotty rain chances, but it will also help to bring in some cooler temperatures. It will feel a lot better, thank goodness. So there is an end in sight for the heat. It's just going to take us a little while before we get there. But 95 tomorrow, 96 Tuesday, 97 Wednesday. And these numbers have been fluctuating a bit. And do expect them to continue to do that through the next couple of days. And I see a good question. Braden Harper asks, will we be going into alert day mode for the heat? That is a great question. We have a certain criteria for the heat, and we haven't quite met that exactly. We need the temperatures in the 100-degree range and like a consistent heat index of like I think it was 105 or 106 plus. So, and we don't want to issue too many alert days in a row, you know what I mean? Because then people will just start to ignore them. So that is a conversation I was actually going to text Tawana tonight and touch base with her about that to make sure she's ready to go for tomorrow morning. But the hottest of the days, if we were to issue them, I think it would be towards the end of the week. But then again, we have the JCPS students heading back tomorrow too. So that's an additional factor. There are a lot of things that go into it. So we'll have to watch it closely and just stand by for updates, because you might hear more about that here in the coming 24 hours or so, I guess. So hottest days of the week so far, certainly by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday, depending on when our next system tries to move in, that could impact the temperature. If it's earlier on in the day, temperatures won't have a chance to get as hot. But if it's later on, which is what we're kind of thinking right now, that is still going to allow temperatures to climb into the upper 90s. Okay, I do want to talk about Tropical Storm Hillary, because this is just all over the headlines, because they've also now had an earthquake, a 5.1, I want to say, magnitude earthquake just outside the Los Angeles area. Now, I've already seen social media calling it a hurricane. Don't do that. The hurricane did not, and it's even a tropical storm now. There has been research done on if hurricanes and different weather phenomenon can create or impact earthquakes, things like that. And when there's an extreme pressure change, very intense pressure change, that can sometimes help. But with this scenario, we aren't thinking that's what happened. The rain is just pouring. This is an area of the country they're used to seeing like 3 inches of rain an entire year. And the forecast totals were in upwards of like 6 to 10 inches. So we're talking about multiple years worth of rain over the course of a couple of hours. And you can just see the moisture surging all the way through parts of Nevada, near Las Vegas, even into parts of Arizona. They're dealing with a lot of the heavy rain. I've seen some videos. We don't have the clearance to show them, so I can't do that at the moment, but we'll hopefully get some later on tonight of the flooding that's happened at least near the Baja California coast. That's where it did technically make landfall, and it will continue to move its way closer to the Los Angeles, San Diego area. So all the way from San Diego to Los Angeles is where we're seeing the worst of it. And this is the first time they've seen tropical storm warnings in the state. And believe it or not, this is, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong though, I'm like 90%, 99% sure this is where the only spot in the country we've had any sort of tropical system so far this year. So it's crazy. They're not used to seeing tropical weather, tropical air. This is just, I mean, they don't even really deal with humidity on a regular basis, even let alone rain. So that's why this is such a historical event that's happening. And so I hope everyone there is staying safe and has heeded the warnings, because they do. The blue is that you see are the tropical storm warnings, but the Los Angeles area, essentially where all those tropical storm warnings have been issued, or where we've also had flash flood warnings. So they've had a lot of rain over a very, very short period of time. I've seen looked like some rocks. I don't know if it was technically a land or mudslide onto some of the roadways, because you got to think it's very mountainous near that way. And it's also very sandy. So the soil there's nothing to really absorb the water. So it's just going to run off and find the lowest lying area essentially, and then just accumulate. So that is why it's kind of problematic, because this is a very kind of hilly, mountainous part of the country. You got to think about it. In the state itself, we have, over the course of just maybe 100 or so miles, we have the difference between the coastline and the mountains. So that's one of the reasons why people are so drawn to states like California, is because you can get the best of both worlds there. Okay. Thank you. Siri, she was trying to interject my forecast there, but that's what we've got right now for Tropical Storm Hillary. And I know a lot of people will give you grief about, well, it's only a tropical storm, it's not going to be that bad. Well, when it comes to determining the strength of a hurricane, the category, that is exclusively determined by the wind. So it's not, it doesn't take into account the rain that's going to fall, the moisture levels. That is where we can experience a lot of problems when it comes to tropical systems that people don't always think about, like storm surge, for one. We tend to forget about that, especially if you are along the coast. I feel like we've gotten better about it in recent years, but the heavy flooding rain is what can cause so many issues and just like devastating problems. So, okay, that's my high horse on the flooding stuff. That's my rant for y'all today. Okay, so the tropical outlook for the Atlantic. So that's a Pacific storm. This is our Atlantic setup. So we've had several updates today. We've had Tropical Storm Franklin, Tropical Depression 6. Well, that actually formed yesterday. We have Tropical Storm Emily, and Tropical Storm Franklin is actually now forecast to become a low-end hurricane. So far, none of these are expected to bring impacts to the United States. All good. It's going to stay meander out in the central Atlantic. We also have another wave. So we call these tropical waves, right? Because they form off the western coast of Africa, and we kind of see how things unfold as they move their way further to the west, technically closer to the east coast of the United States, I guess you could say. But we see how they progress, and boy, it's like a light switch flipped over the last couple of days, because last week or so, really, we have seen several waves and a lot of developments here over the last couple of hours, I feel like, just today. But I do want to point out too, so none of these are going to impact the United States, at least as of right now. We do have that one chance of development. It's still just now making its way off the western coast of Africa, so it's still got thousands of miles to go. It does have a 60% chance of development over the next week. So We'll likely hear more about that. And then we also have this chance of development that's off the coast of Florida. You'll see the center of that, the X. And that is where we have the chance of another tropical system possibly forming in the Gulf. That will be one that we need to watch closely because we don't like seeing that near the Gulf. That's just, we don't want it. But as of right now, it looks like it's going to push further towards the southern coast of Texas, near the opposite coast of Mexico. So they're getting hit from both sides at this point. Oh no, we got some spam. Oh, I did not mean to click on it. Don't interact with this guy, okay? Oh my gosh. I will try to block him if I can figure out how. Anyway, that's what's happening with the tropics. And it's going to continue to be very active and busy. So you'll hear us talk a lot more about that, especially with our weather just being hot and dry. Yes, it will be impactful for us, but in a different way. So yeah, that's what we have to deal with. I mean, check it out. 20% chance of rain Friday night, Saturday morning. That's it. But at least temperatures beyond that, so far, so good. We were worried there for a little bit that we weren't going to see too much of a break from the heat. It looked like it was going to be a little prolonged, but I think we're leaning more towards the mid and upper 80s, which we'll take it. That's beautiful if you ask me. I just want a quiet weekend. Again, it's so nice not having severe weather or just impactful weather really over the weekends. I mean, we've barely gone a weekend without a storm or severe weather chance all summer long. So yes, I know a lot of people with storm anxiety are very happy about that we're starting to get a little bit of a break, but so we're throwing that out there. Let's see. Amber says, my family's out there and my mom said it's getting bad in regards to the tropics. Oh my gosh, I hope she's doing okay. And that's very scary, I'm sure, especially if she's not used to that. Let's see. Cheyenne Clark says, hope we have some rain this week. Well, it's not looking too promising, unfortunately. Maybe a couple showers Saturday night or Friday night, Saturday morning. We'll watch that potential closely. Hello to Michael from Madison, Indiana. And again, hello to you, Cheyenne. There's a couple of you guys on tonight. That's okay. Joanne, she says, thank you for your information. Have a great night. I hope you do too. This is all I've got for you guys. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry forecast. Just I want to make sure everyone is staying safe, especially for kids heading back to school. Kids who are already in school. I mean, it goes for everybody, not just JCPS. I know that's like our biggest district. So we tend to talk about them a lot, especially with everything that's been happening lately. But we just want to make sure everyone's staying safe in regards to the forecast. So we're just trying to make sure you have the information that you need to stay safe. Let's see. Troy says, tell Callie to send the storms back over here where they belong and tell that heat to come home. I'm not built for this, or I ain't built for this. It'll be okay. Just stay inside. I really feel for everyone who has to work outdoors. Gosh, like labor-intensive jobs like construction. I don't know what their protocols are for weather like this, but I can't imagine it's either good for business or for health. So, man. Anyway, I will stop rambling now. Very easy to do on these things when you're kind of talking to yourself. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. We'll, of course, have Wave News coming up at 11 tonight. Before long, we're going to have NFL football, and so we'll be going on a little bit later. But on Sunday nights, in case you didn't know, we actually do have a full hour of news from 11 to midnight. So if you missed the first half hour, or if you missed the forecast the first time around, we'll have it again during the second half hour of the 11 p.m. newscast. So we go from 11 to midnight, in case you're wondering. Some people don't know that. We stay up late on Sunday nights. But okay, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Take care, stay safe, stay hydrated, and really send all of your thoughts out to the people out in California and, of course, Hawaii and Canada, where we just had so many natural disasters lately. We just can't catch a break, it feels like. But okay, hope everyone has a good night. Take care. We'll see you at 11.